Okay, hello everyone. It's great to have you all on board. It's another time with Tutor IO 20 Tutor, and in today's tutorial, it happens to be the continuation of the course POL301. So far, it has been good. All right, it's been wonderful, and just like I said earlier, we should be calling it a wrap with the course this week, and I'm very positive that we should be able to start a new course entirely this week. So, without further ado, let's get straight into things. So, according to the thumbnail, it says data. All right. We're going to be talking about data collection method. Okay. Collection method. I believe you all can hear me. Now, when we talk about data collection method, what are we talking about? Okay. We're going to be considering certain things on that very quickly. All right. Can we see the board clearly? I think I can check that from my end. It seems like it's kind of blurry from what I can see here. So I'm going to get a napkin to clean this. Seems kind of blurry from what I can see from my end. All right. Yeah. So I think it's better now. Awesome. Awesome. I think it's better now. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Let's go straight into things. Now, so when we talk about data collection method, so far when we're talking about research work, we're talking about data gathering, research work, and we've considered a whole lot of things. And as important as research work is, it is also very important that we talk about how you intend to gather your data, because your work is based, the foundation of your research work is based on data at your disposal, the available data at your disposal. So speaking of which, how do you get this data? What method do you use in collecting this data? This is what I'm going to be talking about in today's class. So I believe you have your writing materials. Ensure you take notes as we go through this together. If there's anything you don't understand during the course of the class, ensure to let me know. Notify me in the comment section. All right. And if you're on the stream, you are going to the comment section here to do to say hi, hello. Let's know where you're streaming from. And if you're yet to subscribe to the channel, also subscribe, like this video, and join our private class. Very important. You should be there for you to be there, because there we guide you, we walk you through everything throughout the semester, the courses as a whole. All right, prepare you for the exams as well. Now, we'll talk about data collecting method. Like we all know by now that data is very important when it comes to research work. Okay. Now, research is all about problem solving, and the selection of the problem are for research. All right. Okay. The selection of a problem area for research is the first step towards the identification of research population, like we said in our last class. Now, under data collection, all right, it's a very wide field. So we need to break certain things down. All right. So speaking of data collection, when you are doing your research, it's all about problem solving. Okay. Problem solving, research is all about problem solving. And trying to solve this problem, all right, the area for research is the first step. Okay. I want to, this method I would like to use, data collection method, that's DCM. All right, so that's DCM. Please, I want us to pay attention to what I'm trying to do here. So we have DCM, data collection method. Now, DCM is all about research. All right, research is all about problem solving. Please, like I usually say, you need to get the basics of things. When you understand the basics of things, no matter how the question is being twisted, you will have, all right, you have 99.9% chance in tackling these questions. All right, because trust me, nobody knows how questions will be set. If anybody tells you that this is how the question will be, unless it's the person that's setting the exam. All right. So as a student preparing for your exams, all right, you need to prepare for the worst. And that's why I encourage us to be in the private class, because that private class will prepare you to prepare for the worst. No matter how the question is being twisted, no matter how the question is being presented, you will have a 19.9% chance of tackling it properly. So now, when we say data collection method, we first need to talk about the fact that why are you collecting data? Before you even talk about the method of collecting data, why are you collecting data? Is because you are doing research. And when we say research, you want to solve a problem. Okay? Now, when you want to solve a problem, you want to talk about area, which you cannot solve all the problem in the world. There's a particular problem you want to solve. All right? So now we're talking about the area which you want to solve problem. All right? When I did mine, it was hospitality industry. When I did my research work, then it was in my own area, all right, where I did my research work on, or it was all about the hospitality industry. So we have the area, okay. We already know that it's problem solving, okay. So now the area for research is the first step towards the identification of the research population. So now, when we talk about area, we are being made to understand that area now is seen as the first step. The first step towards what? The first step towards the identification of research population. ID of research population. Now, let me explain. In our last class, remember we said something about population. Remember we said something about sample. All right. We talked about population. All right. We talked about population. And we talked about sample population. Now, no matter what you are doing, there's always a population. No matter the research you are conducting, there's always a population. Now, what do we call this population? We refer to this population as the specific area. All right. In this population now is where you find this. Population is real. All right. Population is the general environment. Population is this targeted, all right, solution, targeted phenomenon towards problem solving. In your population, we have people, we have entity, we have, all right, your population bring you close to getting answers to your research questions or to your research. It brings you close to your research problem. All right, because you are conducting a research, you can't conduct it in isolation. Let's say, for example, now when I did my own project, all right, it was all about improving the human relation, all right, within the hospitality industry, all right, and without. So it was a thing of how human relation, all right, can be improved effectively in the hospitality industry, and how the hospitality industry, all right, communicates effectively with other industries. All right. So now my area of concentration, my case study was hospitality industry. My case study was where I was working, but which is more food. All right. So my population was hospitality industry. Okay. So my case study, which is more like a sample, a small population. Now, my organization where I was working there is one among several other organizations in the hospitality industry. The hospitality industry as a whole now is my population. So I now selected my own organization. Okay, out of all the hospitality industry in Abuja, I'm using this particular organization, which is now my sample population. So you can imagine if I had no population, how would I conduct my research? Is it ghosts, or would I conduct my research on hair, or is it sand, rocks, and stone? So this population now contains, all right, it's a step, it brings you a step closer to getting questions that could help you solve your research problem. Now, so under this, like I've explained, research is all about identifying problem areas in a population. All right, it's all about what? Identifying. Research is all about identifying. That's ID. Identifying what? Identifying problem areas in a population. Problem areas in a population. All right. Research is all about identifying. Now you get what I'm trying to explain here. All right. So speaking of the population, speaking of the sample, identification of the research problem. All right. Speaking of your step, your area, of everything revolves around. All right, your population. Now, population refers to all conceivable elements. All conceivable elements. Your population. All conceivable elements. Population. All, without leaving anything. Anything you can consider. All what? Conceivable elements. Okay? All conceivable elements, subjects, or observation. Okay? Relating to a particular phenomenon of interest to the researcher. All right, all conceivable elements. Let's use another word for this conceivable to break it down properly. So when we talk about conceivable, we are talking about all imaginable. Okay, let's use imaginable. Okay, all imaginable. So conceivable, imaginable, all elements you can think of, all imaginable elements, all right, subjects or observations relating to a particular phenomenon of interest, all right, all conceivable or imaginable elements, all right, subject, observation, relating to, okay, a particular phenomenon, a particular phenomenon, that's E, all right, of area of interest, phenomenon of interest, to the researcher. So let's leave that as that. Now you see that all this we're talking about, we've not even talked about the methods, all right? But we're just trying to explain why it is very important you are collecting, all right, data. So now I'll explain what is meant by the sample already. Okay, so let's go straight to. So now before we go straight to the method, I want us to talk about what it means by sampling. We know what the sample population is. So when we say sampling, it is the taking any portion of the population or universe. All right. So sampling now is a process. The process that involves you taking part of the population, all right, or the universe is called sampling. I think I need to shift my camera back a little bit so you can cover the whole thing. Okay, I think it's better now. Wonderful. I think it's better now. So that's that on sampling. So let's take a step further. Okay. So now that we talked about the process, now we know what it means by the sampling. All right. Now, what we're trying to do here is that considering sampling is removing part of the population, all right, that means you are breaking things down for you to have a more a less broad phenomenon and you it into something that will be easily, all right, worked on. That is that sample, all right. And we talked about the sampling already, which is the process, all right. Why the sample population is the part of population that was removed, but the sampling is the process of removing. Mr. Constant, good evening. You came late, but it's good to have you on board. Mr. Constant, I believe you're not in our private class. Just do what to reach out to me after this class so you can be added to the private class. Just go to our official website, www.tutorial.net, and from there you'll find the WhatsApp button on the top right corner, which you can use in sending me a direct message. Now, some of the reasons for sampling are to reduce data to a manageable portion. Remember what I said at that time? When you do sampling, you are reducing the data. All right. So I begin to, like I use my own organization as an example. Some people start going from one hospitality industry to another in Abuja. I could just use that of my own organization based on my sample population to do my analysis or to carry out my research work. So basically, one of the reasons of sampling is to reduce, okay, to reduce the data to a manageable portion, to also reduce the cost and time that will be spent by the researcher. All right. So we have some sampling errors as well. Sampling errors occurs when complete survey of the entire population is not carried out. All right. Sampling error occurs when the complete. Oh my goodness, who is this person calling me by? Sampling error occurs. There's something called sampling error. So I'm just going to put that here. Sampling error. Now, this error occurs when the complete survey of the entire population is not carried out. All right. When the complete survey all right, of the entire population is not carried out, then an error will occur. All right. Now, the difference in the results obtained from a sample and obtained from the entire population is called the sampling error. Now, when the sampling when the survey is not carried out completely, the results you have gotten from the population will definitely be different from that of the sample result. And that result, all right, is what we now call the error. So we have that as that. Now, they are basically sampling methods or techniques. Okay, they are basically sampling method or techniques. Now, when we talk about sampling methods, I think I should raise the board. We can have space to take in more questions, more points. Now, some of the sampling methods or techniques. So we have methods or techniques. The very first one we have here is called the probability sampling. So let's just write probability sampling. Now here, according to Fagbongbe in 1993, he said this PS, probability sampling, all right, it says it sees it as one in which every member of the population has a known chance of being selected. All right, every member of the population have a known, okay, have a known chance of being selected. That is for the PS. Now, this type of sampling uses some form of random sampling, okay, in one or more of their stages. All right, this is the kind of population sampling. Now, population sampling is kind of sampling that uses what we call, all right, that uses a form of random sampling. That's enough on that. All right, uses a form of what we call random sampling. Okay, so based on that, we also have under this probability sampling, we have some stages involved. Okay, now some of these stages are the simple random sampling, the systematic sampling, the stratified, and cluster. Under the simple, here, what we use here is it adopts principle of randomization. All right, simple random sampling is purely, all right, random. Okay, here every subject or unit in the population has an equal chance of being selected. While the systematic is a bit different, all right, the chances of being selected is slim. Then the stratified, here, random sampling method in which the population is grouped into some definite characters are called strata. The stratified sampling, all right, is where the sampling, all right, where this population is being grouped in strata, all right, grouped in strata. Then we have the stratified, like it says, stratified. Just a moment. Now, this stratified sampling is a bit different, all right, because here it is in layers, all right, it's in different levels, all right. So then we have the cluster. Cluster is just like it says, when researchers recognize that some populations are distributed in cluster or settlements and it wants to use the cluster basis for selection. Now, when we say cluster, we are simply referring to, all right, more like a collection, all right. Cluster here is more like a mass, all right, cluster or area sampling. when the researcher realized that, okay, the population sampling is a bit much, so instead of just stratifying them, all right, putting them in layers or levels, you just do what we call grouping. All right, so cluster or area sampling is the sampling technique that uses grouping as a strategy. All right, so now under sampling method, we'll be able to dissect some methods under the population sampling methods. So now let's go to the next one. The next one is what we call the non-probability sampling. All right, non-probability sampling. Here, the method does not guarantee randomness. That is, the selection of the population has no privilege of having equal chance. So, no randomness, no selection equal chance. That's the opposite of the probability sampling. So under this, we have as well some methods, okay, some sampling process. Let's put it that way. We have some sampling process under this. And to start with, we have the quota sampling. Under this quota sampling, it says knowledge of strata of the population, all right, is used to select sample method as, all right, select sampling members that are representative of quota of population. Now, just a moment. Now, this quota sampling basically just uses what we call the strata method here, whereby it groups, all right, certain elements of the population according to certain, all right, according to certain characteristics, the likes of grouping them in levels, age, all right, grouping them gender, grouping them in levels. Okay, this level, this gender, we have male, female, so number 50 to 100, all right, this gender 100 to 50. And we also have the judgmental sampling, the panel sampling, and the likes. So let's go straight to, I think I just two of them. Let's go straight to research instruments. Now, in research instruments, we are simply referring to those instruments you'll be employing. We are simply referring to the type, those instruments you will be using when conducting your research. Now, there are four main procedures for collecting data on information from which, all right, now, we talked about method. All of this was method. Excuse me. Now, I want to talk about the instruments you'll be using when collecting your data. So basically, there are four different methods. Okay? There are four different methods. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So the very first one is called questionnaire. Okay? Then we also have what we refer to as, okay, we have the questionnaire, we have interview, okay, we also have observation, as well as experimentation. So those are the main 4 research instruments used in collecting data. Excuse me. Now, according to Fagbo in 1993, he said, and I quote, is defined, all right, as a form of, all right, as forms of any form used to secure answers for specific questions. The use of forms to secure answers. Questionnaire is a form expected to be filled by respondents or respondents. Who are the respondents? The respondents are the intended individuals the researcher is handing over the questionnaires to for them to respond to the questions in the questionnaire. So the researcher does not just give the questionnaire to any random persons. So who they are being given to are referred to as respondents. All right. So questionnaire method is perhaps the most widely used method. I use questionnaire myself. All right. It's perhaps the most widely used method. Now, under this questionnaire, there are certain things we also need to consider. All right. As we have the types of these questionnaires, and basically there are 3 of them: the open-ended, close-ended, and scale items. Like I usually say, 300 level first semester and above, you are privileged as a student to write what we refer to as an open-ended exam, where you are allowed to express yourself with written words, unlike garbage in, garbage out, for 100 level, for 200 level second semester below, which is more of a close-ended. It's more of A and B objectives, true or false, and that's all. So now, for the open-ended, respondents are given the opportunity to express themselves freely, all right? Responding to the questions in the questionnaire. While the close-ended, it's more of restricted expression experience, where you have to just go for true or false, agree or disagree, yes or no. All right. They are prepared with a choice of possible answers. And now you are saying yes or no. They don't want you to. The researchers here does not want to know of how you feel or express yourself. Now, for the scale items, there are questions where the respondent is expected to take a definite position, and this is expressed by choosing one from the number of fixed alternative answers. So this is more like disagree or disagree, disagree or disagree, disagree. This is what it's about, choosing sides. Okay. So we have that as that. Now we have interview. For interview, there are 3 main purposes of interview. All right. We have the exploratory purpose, instrument of research, which is data collection, and supplementary. Now let's expand on that very quickly. Now, when we say interview, what are we even talking about? When we say interview, we are referring to the situation in which one person, the interviewer, asks a person being interviewed, which is the respondent questions. Now, the interview can be defined as the, all right, interaction, okay, the interaction between 2 individuals, which are the respondent and the interviewer. The interviewer does the question asking, and the respondent does the answering part of it. All right, and that's just like we have said, there are 3 main purposes for conducting interview. One, you want to explore, exploratory purpose. Two, you want to gather data. And three, you want to supplement other methods. We'll get there. So now, there are two broad types of interview, the structured and the unstructured, similar to questionnaires as well. So we also have observation. Let's just put between two individuals. Discussion or a session between two individuals. Then observation as a method of data collection, all right, is where the researcher, all right, goes to the field to witness, all right, witnessing of events occurring. We are witnessing of events. So as a researcher, when you witness, all right, witnessing of events you observe on the field. Okay. And for experimentation, here you explore whether relationship exists among identical variables. All right. Explore, all right, relationship among variables. So we have that as that. And under that, we have some points as well, but our time is fast spent. I want us to call it wrap here for today. As in our next class, we'll be talking about literature, all right, literature search. So thank you very much, everyone. We are making a good progress. Hopefully, this week I am positive that we are going to complete this course, all right, and we can move to another course immediately. So thank you once again, everyone. Let's have a wonderful evening, and I look forward to you all in subsequent tutorial. Okay, bye for now.